going on, everyone? So Bojan Bogdanovic is having quite the season, and he would be such a nice addition to any contender, right? The Detroit Pistons are a tanking team. They are in the tank race for Victor Wembanyama or even like a Scoot Henderson, and Detroit is a young, promising team. They really do. They really have a lot of great young talent that I think that this team could be a serious threat in the coming years. But right now, Bojan Bogdanovic, they got for basically a bag of peanuts, Kelly Olynyk essentially, and he is a piece that now has some real value in which that they could use to go and make a trade. And the Los Angeles Lakers put in a bid a while back now, a couple weeks ago, for Bojan Bogdanovic, and they offered a protected first, and the Detroit Pistons, based on reports, wanted an unprotected first. But when it comes to Bojan Bogdanovic, we actually have an update on several teams that are interested in Bojan Bogdanovic, which now makes things really difficult for the Lakers because of the Lakers. They don't have a lot of assets to trade or move to compete with some of these other teams. But luckily, it's a bunch of contenders that are actually trying to go after Bojan Bogdanovic, so they may be able to kind of sneak in there and get the deal. But based on these reports, Detroit wants more than what the initial report was of just the Lakers unprotected first. And I want to specify that because I know some people are going to say, oh, the Lakers should have went and traded for Bojan earlier, when they had the chance. No, it looks like Detroit wants a lot more than just an unprotected first round pick. So diving into it, first off, Yahoo Sports' Jake Fisher reported Thursday that the Cleveland Cavaliers, Dallas Mavericks, Phoenix Suns, and Los Angeles Lakers have all shown interest in the 33-year-old forward. Matt Moore of Action Network added that the Milwaukee Bucks to the mix, writing that Milwaukee will be looking to bid if the Pistons make Bogdanovic available. It was also later added that Fisher reported Detroit is looking to get at least one first-round pick and either a young player with upside or additional draft capital in a swap. So again, it's not just an unprotected first from the Lakers. So Lakers would very likely have to give up an unprotected first as well as additional things such as a young player or couple seconds or maybe another first. So the asking price for Bojan Bogdanovic is pretty high right now. And so obviously the Lakers, they could give up an unprotected first if they wanted to. And then it would come down to likely a young player because they're not going to give up both first for Bojan Bogdanovic. There's just no way. It's not even worth it. I personally don't even think it's worth it for anything more than a first. I think a first-round pick is more than enough for Bojan Bogdanovic. Yes, Bojan Bogdanovic has been great scoring and shooting the basketball, but he does have his flaws, especially on the defensive end. Now, he is no slouch. He at least tries. And look, he was solid in Utah, primarily because they had a defensive center, and Bojan Bogdanovic was really good at funneling the offensive player to that center, right? You got to keep in mind, at one point, Utah had Joe Ingles and Bojan Bogdanovic as their two forward spots, and they were fine defensively. They were one of the better defensive teams, and that's because you had Rudy Gobert, who was such a good shot blocker. Well, we have Anthony Davis, right? So if you get Bojan Bogdanovic and Anthony Davis is healthy, Bojan Bogdanovic is good enough to at least funnel the offensive player to Anthony Davis so Anthony Davis can be the help defender. So I'm not too concerned in that regards, but it's something for other teams to even keep in mind. But he does have his flaws and his age. There are concerns about, kind of going all in with him, although I do think he would make the Lakers much, much better, and he is definitely the right step in the right direction. Obviously, the Lakers would need more, and that's where the dilemma lies, right? So now, if you're going to make this trade, you're very likely having to give up a first, and you're not giving up Max Christie, so you're probably giving up Lonnie Walker, right? Is Lonnie Walker enough to entice the Detroit Pistons? Possibly. He's a young, promising player with upside, and he's been really good for the Lakers this year. But the reason I mention Lonnie Walker is because Lonnie Walker, we're likely not going to keep. This is kind of a Malik Monk situation all over again, where you have a young player who has a lot of talent that comes to the Lakers to showcase his talent on the big spotlight and ends up doing that and is now going to get a big contract. Some team is going to offer him some money, right? And it's probably going to be too rich for the Lakers. So if you're the Lakers, I'm not against them trading Lonnie Walker this season if you can get a deal that makes sense. Bojan Bogdanovic has 2 years, so you basically have him on the timeline of LeBron James as well as Anthony Davis. So when Bojan's contract falls off, so with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and then you can kind of reevaluate and see what you want to do. Or if you're kind of rebuilding, starting over, you let everyone go, and now you have all that cap space. So Lonnie Walker very likely would have to be included in the deal because they're not going to want Patrick Beverley and Kendrick Nunn. So basically, you would likely be swapping Kendrick Nunn. So it'd basically be Patrick Beverley and Lonnie Walker at that point for Bojan Bogdanovic, and then you would attach a first-round pick. Lakers would get Bojan Bogdanovic. So in that sense, then very likely you kind of just swap Lonnie Walker with Bojan in the starting lineup and then probably go Austin Reeves at the 2. So then the Lakers starting 5, I would imagine, would be Dennis Schroeder, Austin Reeves, Bojan Bogdanovic, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James. It would be my thoughts as far as what they do. Or they could go big, and you could go, maybe Dennis Schroeder or Austin Reeves, have LeBron at the point, then have Bojan Bogdanovic, Anthony Davis, and maybe Thomas Bryant. Something like that. And the Lakers would have to give up somebody like a Lonnie Walker. Now, question is, could you get something better than Bojan Bogdanovic for Lonnie Walker? Like, would another team be interested if they have a veteran player? Question is, what player is that? But maybe there is a team out there that really sees what Lonnie Walker's doing and go, man, he's young, he's 23, he's only going to improve, he's only going to get better. He's been a pretty good shooter, and he's been a great athletic scorer. And so maybe teams would be interested in something like that. That is a real possibility. But in order for the Lakers to get Bojan Bogdanovic on the team, it's gonna be a hefty price. And I just personally don't know if the price is worth it. I just don't know if this is the deal that the Lakers should do, right? Because you're not only losing a first. Like if it was for a first round pick, okay, I can understand, because Bojan is playing well enough to justify that unprotected first, at least in my opinion. Again, he's not without his faults, but he's a guy that's going to come in. He understands his role. He knows how to be the guy. He shoots with great efficiency. So he doesn't need 20, 30 shots to go get you 20 plus points. He can do it in like 15 shots, right? So he's going to get his shots. He's going to get his opportunities, and he's going to get his open looks. Imagine what he could get on the Lakers with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook, as opposed to Detroit, where he's the main scorer. He's their number one option basically this season. And so imagine him going from the number one option to the number 3 option, the types of looks and opportunities that he's going to get. I definitely think he's a guy that could really bolster this team. I think he's a guy that's definitely in the right direction. I think, him, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis is a team that could seriously make some noise and make a threat. And then you would have Kendrick Nunn. Maybe you could, kind of stack players, take Kendrick Nunn, Damian Jones, a couple other pieces, and maybe stack those players to go and then make a move for another, maybe forward or center or something. Maybe you could go get Jakob Poeltl, right? Maybe you could take Kendrick Nunn, Damian Jones, and say JTA or something like that, and then package those 3 along with that other first and go get Jakob Poeltl or something like that. Now you got, Jakob Poeltl, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Russell Westbrook, right? So that is something that the Lakers could maybe do, because I don't think the Lakers need a bunch. I think they need somewhere in the 2 to 3, ideally maybe 4 quality rotation starting level players, right? But I think Bojan is good enough to where he basically equates to 2 role guys, right? Because if you get 2 role guys, they're going to give you probably, 25 a game collectively. Well, Bojan could give you 25 a game by himself individually. And I think that is something of value. And not just that, he's a veteran. He's a guy that's been there. He's the guy that's hit shots. He's the guy, you get what I'm saying? Like, he's a guy that very likely shouldn't shrink in the moment. And so I think that has value in and of itself as well. So if you get Bojan Bogdanovic, I think the Lakers are like now 1, maybe 2 solid rotation pieces away from being legit contenders and actually being in the conference. Because look, they have shown if everybody is healthy, this is a team that can compete and beat anybody. And they've done that, right? And if you go get a guy like Bojan Bogdanovic, who just takes a lot of the scoring load off of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, that's huge. He's got size, which is good. Again, he's not an elite lockdown defender, but he's at least a guy with size. I'd rather have Bojan Bogdanovic, who's 6'8", with the long wingspan, going out and contesting shots rather than Patrick Beverley, who's 6'1". Like that, I just would rather have that being the guy guarding the wings. And not that Patrick Beverley can't hold his own defensively and stuff like that. He hasn't been great defensively this year. Like, even if you go look up at his advanced stats and everything, he's not very good this year defensively. He has his moments, definitely. But overall, he's actually below average. But regardless, Bojan Bogdanovic still has the size, and he likely will help with rebounding. He'll likely help with, just disrupting, and then of course hitting shots and provide a scoring punch that could be hugely beneficial, and just a shooting threat that the Lakers desperately need, right? The Lakers really, really need shooting badly. And he's a guy that could come in and really provide that. Now, he's not going to fix that by himself, but now you're a step in the right direction, and you have an opportunity to potentially get another piece or two that could come in and really help. If you want to go the wing route, maybe you could go get like maybe go get a Doug McDermott or something like that. I don't know. You figure it out, right? But as far as the trade goes, I just think you got to get Saddiq Bey. If you're giving up an unprotected first and Lonnie Walker, I would even be okay giving up like a second if they gave us Saddiq Bey, right? And it's like, and here's the thing too, like with all of the contenders, the one thing that the Lakers have that most teams don't right now is the expiring contracts that can make the deals work, right? Most teams don't have that expiring contract that can make those deals work. Now, the Suns have like Jay Crowder, but if that comes down to now, like, okay, well, if you're Detroit, right, what do you value more? The Suns pick, which is probably going to be in the 20s, or a potential lottery pick from the Lakers 5 years from now? And I know a lot of people look at it and go, well, why would a team want a pick 5 years from now rather than a pick now? And it's because of the upside, right? Like, right now, if you trade with a contending team or, one of the really good teams, you're the best chance you have at the pick is mid to high 20s. So would you want a mid to high 20 pick now, or would you want to roll the dice on a potential lottery pick, maybe even a number one pick in a draft that is a couple years down the road? And worst case, absolute worst case, is the pick is the Lakers are really good and the pick is somewhere where it's at now, right? But if you're a team like Detroit, you're a young rebuilding team. You already have like your core intact. You're probably going to get like a Victor Wembanyama or Scoot Henderson this season. So you're going to get another young guy with talent. And if that's the case, how many more picks do you need right now? You're better off building your young core. And the idea is, by the time the Lakers pick is ready to be conveyed, you're already good enough. So now that pick is valuable, and now you can use that pick in a trade to go put you over the top to maybe win a championship. Or if you're missing a piece and you have a top 5 pick and you're like, man, we really like this guy. We really believe that this guy could come in and have the impact we're looking for to put us over the top, then there you go. Like Detroit, when they made the decision of Darko over Melo, right? Like that, like if they would have went and got Melo, they probably win another championship, and history would have completely changed, right? So Detroit could find themselves in that same position 5 years down the road, and it makes the Lakers pick that much more valuable. That's why a lot of these rebuilding teams are looking and like the Lakers pick so much, because all of these teams are kind of in the same boat as Detroit. We believe that we'll be good enough come the year that pick is conveyed. We believe that the Lakers will not be. We believe that we're going to be better than the Lakers. Right now, the best pick that we're going to get is somewhere in the 20s. So would we rather take, the 25th pick in the draft, or we'd rather take the chance that the Lakers are going to continue to be dysfunctional and continue to be terrible and potentially get a lottery pick? That's why that pick is so valuable and so important. But if you're the Lakers, I just think your whole thing is like, we have the expiring contracts, we have the young player and Lonnie Walker, we have an unprotected first, and we have seconds. We want Saddiq Bey. We'll give you Lonnie Walker, we will give you an unprotected first, and we will give you a second round pick. That is more than enough fair value for Saddiq Bey and Bojan Bogdanovic, right? And Detroit at that point, they don't care. Like, and I've had people will go, oh, well, if they lose Saddiq Bey and they lose Bojan Bogdanovic, well, then they don't have any like wing players themselves. Like, of course they do. And they're going to go and have an entire draft where they could get that guy if they want. Or they get a guy like Victor Wembanyama, and then they could just go get a wing player in free agency or something. Or make a trade or make a move. Like, they have more than enough assets, more than enough talent, more than enough youth, more than enough everything. And Lonnie Walker could play the 3 in the meantime until, the following season, right? Until you figure it out. So if you're Detroit, you're getting an unprotected first round pick that could potentially be a lottery pick. You're getting a Lonnie Walker, and you are getting a second round pick for Saddiq Bey and Bojan Bogdanovic. That is more than enough. More than enough. That is like, who's going to give them a better deal than that? A young player with plenty of upside who's actually having a very good season as like the third or fourth option, right? And then you're getting an unprotected first that could potentially be a lottery pick and a second round pick. I don't know what more you could want. And that's the only way I think that it's justifiable from the Lakers standpoint. You get Saddiq Bey, get Bojan Bogdanovic. Now you got 2 guys that can play both forward spots, and you got 2 guys that can both shoot the 3 ball. And I think you get that young guy that kind of replaces Lonnie Walker. But those are my thoughts and opinions. And as always, I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Do you like this? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think the Lakers have a chance at Bojan? Do you think they don't? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. I'd love to hear them. Let me know down in the comments below.